per inmate per year for rapists and murderers and the such. That's okay. Accept that society. That's the norm. That's the status quo. That's establishmentarianism. That's the trajectory we want, and we want to stay on that. So let us keep kicking the can down the road, keep accepting it, okay? Keep tolerating it. Keep conforming and complying. All you educated people, just go along. Go along to get along. Go with the flow. Don't question authority. Just accept the status quo and this trajectory. Don't say nothing. That guy's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But it turns out I'm a learned, educated man. So, in fact, I do. So what's the difference? Maybe just that I'm not a coward. I'm willing to speak out. Hey, they want to blow my brains out. I mean, I'm honored. I mean, I want to live to be a ripe old age. I have no suicidal tendencies at all. But one thing I'm not going to be is a coward, especially when I was so lucky to be born in this country, in America. Okay? The land of freedom. I have an obligation to keep that light of freedom burning. And just by not being a coward and speaking truth to power and anybody else that'll listen. I like to think I influence the influencers. So all it takes is one person running with an idea, steal it, plagiarize. I don't care. I want to get the job done. I want to be happy. I'm selfish. And if you're selfish like me, then go out, let's get the job done. Let's fix it. Like Fry said on Futurama, one of those episodes when the spaceship got hit by enemy fire, and Fry freaked out. And he told Leela, fix it. So that's what we got to do, friends. And until we do that, the hand of protection that God offers is going to keep being lifted. His wrath is on us for that reason. That's how he's got his wrath on us. And we're in a lot of trouble, my friends. So the two kinds of sinners, one that's contrite about it and one that revels in it. In a nutshell, that's it. It's nothing to be proud of, okay? It's the opposite. We all know that feeling. But it doesn't feel right. You know, we've been thinking wrong thoughts, speaking wrong words, doing wrong things, and it doesn't feel right. We just have to admit it. It doesn't mean we're not going to do it again, but it's by admitting it, we say we know it's not ideal at least, right? You can say that and admit toward God. You got to purge your heart every day. And when it comes to forgiveness and holding grudges and resentments and all this crap, every day, that prayer, the church is with you every day. God is with you, the Spirit of truth, the comforter, the encourager, the counselor. The Holy Spirit of God is with you equally. You're equally beloved. We're precious, priceless treasures to God. And we have to convey that to others. Make sure we should have the highest self-esteem. Low pride, low ego, no, possible. You know, if none, it's better. I mean, what's ego? What's that? Who needs that crap? It doesn't do anything. Vanity and all that crap. There's no room for conceit, self-righteousness, any of that arrogant, self-righteous BS. But that can't stop us from being righteous and loving the wicked. They don't want to be loved. They don't believe you can. They project that. So it's very hard to love these people because they know the power thereof. But when you love wicked people, vile people, you think, wow, this person is really deliberately evil. It's hard. That's the power of God coming through you to be able to do that without feigning it. You can't, there's no feigning the love of God. And by extension, the love that can come through a human being, one human being to another. But that's a way to turn this around. It disempowers them. They got no power, but say, I see through. I know how you operate. Just I'm trying to point out to you how this whole business works. In the economy, how they normalize slavery right under our noses. How is the Federal Labor Department that utterly, profoundly remiss unless it's by deliberation? That's it. Because they could have acted to stop it. We forget Congress and Senate, forget the Federal Reserve, but the Federal Labor Department could have prevented it just by looking after the interests of federal minimum wage workers 1 year at a time. Did the cost of living go down? Well, we're cutting the wages of the federal minimum wage workers. It's fair. They're still getting richer because the worth of the money keeps going up, like the VCR is happening. It's dirt cheap now, right? That should have happened to housing. It should have happened to everything. Did it? No, of course not. I'm on to some recent current events and other talking points now, friends. So listen, this national debt. Could you imagine having a credit card issued to you and there was no limit and you just borrow money? You want to pay the minimum charge, you just borrow more money. That's what this national debt is like. I mean, could you imagine having a person? That doesn't work for any of us at a personal level, right? No, there's a due date. There's a minimum payment, and it's up to you to find out. You don't just they don't play that game. I mean, they see through that. So none of us get that privilege yet. We're all taught that it's going to work on a national level. Right, that's going to work. There's never going to be a bill to be paid, a due date, right? Just borrow more and more to pay the minimum principal or the minimum required, needed, due. That's it. That's the way it's going to work in perpetuity, huh? Right, right. Not going to create more poverty, huh? It's not going to create a greater wealth imbalance, is it? No. Bill Gates talked about going to a plant-based meat. You know what? I rarely give kudos to Bill Gates, but I happen to agree that that's probably a pretty good idea, in the long run. Healthier, too, plant-based. Just remember that when it comes to gut health and all that stuff, it's better, healthier. To describe evil men, controlling us with policy, and we're all being forced to endure this essentially ship of fools being navigated and captained by a madman lunatic. This guy who hates his own cargo of fools and deliberately goes out of his way to get into deadly storms, and as his cargo, his ship of fools drown in terror, he shuttles off in the only lifeboat. That's what they're like. Or like a demonically possessed bus driver who's drunk, not on alcohol, but rather on the blood of past and present saints. And we're all stuck on this bus. The driver instills ever greater terror in his hostage passengers because he gets a thrill from it. He goes faster and faster, more and more recklessly as he careens into a thick fog bank, to use a metaphor. Okay, friends, I'm on to some thoughts from the last week, and I'm going to read really quick so I can hopefully get through them. Only we can decide to strike a conciliatory note with our nemesis, our adversaries, or our enemies. If we choose not to, then by default we have chosen to maintain them as other than friends, a state void of any peace of mind. Always remember, it is your exclusive prerogative to be an ignorant, confused, stupid, pissant, idiot, a-hole, or to simply choose not to be one. Regarding those people whom are self-righteous and hypocritical, Jesus said, "You hypocrites, you strain out a gnat yet swallow a camel." And I say, you hypocrites make a mountain out of a molehill and a molehill out of a mountain. And now I recall where I got that truth. Even if you don't feel free to be completely yourself with any person, at least choose to be free to be completely yourself with your owner. That is God Almighty. After all, He, that is also she, know you better than you know or could ever know who you are, and still loves you, even when you feel unlovable. Though we don't always feel worthy of His amazing grace, He keeps pouring it out over us. He always cares about us and never gives up on us. Well, friends, listen, it's hard to believe, but I'm all caught up with everything, my thoughts and everything else. So, when I tell people they ought to read Adam Smith's book, The Wealth of Nations, and only that version, that edition, because I tried to read some of the others and I found them unreadable. But the reason I first read that book was I was in real estate class. I had a real estate economics, I believe it was, and my teacher was Thurza Andrews. This woman, she had all the acronyms behind her name. She was at the top of her game at teaching this class, a real professor of real estate. And we had I think she liked me, and she could tell I was different, the questions I was asking and stuff like that. But she was a smart lady. And privately, we talked about, who's going to get stuck holding the bag. We're going back to like 2005, 2006, in that time frame, before the bailout of '08. Because, we saw the writing on the wall. We knew this was coming. It was just, things were out of control. The price of housing was spiraling and all that. And, so I talked to her privately, but she agreed that, somebody's got to get caught holding the bag. That's what the American people wanted. If there was criminality in the banking industry, just all it takes, look, friends, how many turds in a punch bowl does it take to wreck the punch? See, one is too many. That's why you got to ready your heart and mind, have it completely pure, 100%. Only God can help you do that, because the world of tomorrow, there can't be any form of money. You understand? Because one turd in the punch bowl is too many. If there's one man there that wants to get an advantage over other men and has the means to do so, that means money in any form at all. Okay, it's like alchemy. It's like magic. It's like a genie. Okay, you understand? It's very powerful. I mean, we could go to why it's so powerful. Look, it is. It's Satan's ambrosia, man. It's powerful. Who can deny it? So we got to get off the junk. Okay, end of the day, we got to get off the junk, and only God can help us to understand that.